talk about a machine a little bit. I like cyclical machines. I like machines that are repetitive, and I don't know why. I'm not sure why that is. And so I wanted to kind of think about that a little bit. I have an electromagnetic pendulum that I just like to turn on sometimes during the day, and I don't even have to be looking at it. I can kind of hear it, and I don't know, it's just comforting. And I make other machines that don't do much of anything, but I enjoy their cyclical nature. And I think the first time you see this machine working, you know, it's interesting for only 1 or 2 cycles, and then you kind of lose interest in it. And I think that's because surprise is gone. At first you're surprised. You don't know how it works. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's just like anything in life. We like the surprise, but the surprise wears off. The novelty wears off very quickly. And the novelty of this machine wore off very quickly for me. I had the idea, and this is an old idea. You see a lot of wooden machines out there that do this, the marble drops. But I wanted to use some servos to do the lifting. And the novelty wears off very quickly. And so I wanted to try to think a little deeper about this machine and maybe how it applies to life and other things. I wanted to see it as a metaphor for maybe some life experiences. And one of those experiences is if the ball represents your life, and you can look at this whole machine as a metaphor for the seasons. This rail is the summertime, and then you're riding along, and then the fall comes, which is kind of a literal interpretation of the ball drop. And then the winter is the low point of the year, maybe for some people it's the high point. And then comes the spring, when your life is lifted back up to the summertime, which we all seem to enjoy the most. Kind of a shallow interpretation, nonetheless. Another way is, I like to look at this machine as a metaphor for the vicissitudes of life, the changes of life. If this is my life, here I'm riding along. This is just normal life. There's no changes, no surprises. And then all at once, there's a drop. And without something to catch you in life, the drop could be fatal. If the ball or the life drops and hits the lower rail, it'll probably bounce out and you're dead. But there always seems to be something there to catch you, to set you down on your feet so that you can keep going. And I like to look at this as, I'm a spiritual person, I like to look at this as maybe the hand of God is out there to grab me. When things fall apart for me, it gradually sets me down on my feet. Maybe I back up a little bit, and then I get going again. It could be an angel. It could be another person. It could be a family member. It could be anything that keeps you from falling apart, literally falling apart when the world falls out from under your feet. And then when you're riding the lower rail, you're a changed person because of that experience. And it could be worse. And then you could fall down into the rabbit hole here. But then comes the lift. This thing is there to catch you. And this to me is God. or yourself, the ability of yourself to recover from some catastrophic event, or an angel, or someone, some person that reaches out and lifts you back up and gets you back onto the rail of life. And you need this cyclical nature in life, I think. Life would be really boring if it was just this rail, with no changes. Everything's the same every day. And there's no excitement, there's no surprise. You need this fall. You need this surprise in your life. And it gives you an opportunity to help others in their fall. And it gives others opportunity to help you in your fall. And it makes life meaningful. We need this fall. And then I suppose this machine could be a metaphor for spiritual life. We're born low on this rail, but we're lifted high. We're lifted high by the hand of God to heaven. And maybe this high rail is heaven. And it makes me ask the question, is heaven just a rail with no end? And there's no falls, no surprises. Is there nothing for us to do? Is heaven just this? I think maybe heaven has its own surprises and its own cyclical nature. Anyway, it's kind of interesting to maybe look at machines as metaphors. And so I'm going to start doing this with other machines, other things that I see that people have built, and see if there's a spiritual or a metaphorical application to life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my machine.